Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So yesterday, Christine Lagarde had her first speech after being named the president of the European Central Bank. In her speech, or rather statement, she discussed a lot of things, guys. I have the YouTube link here. I'm going to link it in the description of this video if you guys want to watch the entire thing. It runs about an hour and 11 minutes, almost an hour and 12 minutes. And this from the official European Central Bank YouTube page. And it's all here, guys. It was live streamed yesterday. But here are some takeaways, and the Daily Hodl reported on this, obviously focused more on cryptocurrencies, digital currencies, and how Christine Lagarde draws the line on Bitcoin. So, speaking at a news conference in Frankfurt following her first address as the new president of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde mapped out her plans to steer the bank's task force on a digital currency. Lagarde, who stated that central bank digital currency is coming alive and called for regulatory support of digital currencies during her tenure as head of the International Monetary Fund, believes the ECB should be ahead of the curve in using new technologies to advance traditional banking systems and procedures. Lagarde says that while the mandate of monetary policy is price stability, the timing is now to re-examine how to achieve it. She says, "I think it is timely, coming to this job new, and it's just the most appropriate moment to rally support of members around the table to re-examine the effectiveness, appropriateness of each and every single instrument that we've used in the past, to take assessment of that, and to then redefine to ourselves what exactly will this medium-term objective that will deliver on the mandate that we have, which is not changing. The mandate is price stability. The way in which we deliver that mandate is the one that will be under the strategic review." Guys, I'm going to continue down here. I'm going to skip this part here, but I will link the article in the description if you want to read it further. So she discusses how it's important to draw a line between the different types of assets and to focus on the bank's efforts. The digital currency, we have set up a task force, and we will accelerate the effort of this task force, drawing on the resources of the entire Euro system, meaning the national central banks that already participate in that research and that have already committed to the project in terms of experimentation, pilots here and there. So harnessing all of those experiments that have taken place and all the research that has already been put into this effort, together with the work that has been done here so far. I think we're trying to do this by mid-2020. We will identify, number one, the purpose that we have with that. Are we trying to reduce costs? Are we trying to cut out the middlemen? Are we trying to have inclusive finance at no cost? There's a whole range of objectives that can be pursued. Guys, these are her words. This is a direct quote from Christine Lagarde's speech. And when I read this gets me really excited, because to me, what she's saying is she already has a solution. She already knows where she can draw from in order to get this accomplished. Let's go back for a second. She asks, are we trying to reduce costs? Are we trying to cut out the middleman? Are we trying to have inclusive finance at no costs? Those are three particular items that we know Ripple Technology is very good at. We know Brad Garlinghouse and Christine Lagarde have a relationship. We know Brad Garlinghouse has been asked to be part of some of these meetings with these high-level people. Him, Chris Larson, just to name a couple. But these guys are being asked to be included in this because entities like the International Monetary Fund, many central banks around the world, the BIS, all these guys know that technology is the answer. Ripple is delivering on that. Ripple is also wanting to be transparent with it. Ripple wants to run with the grain of cryptocurrency regulations whenever those happen to come to pass. And so they are a trusted entity in the eyes of these organizations. When Christine Lagarde was at the International Monetary Fund, we know that her and members of Ripple were discussing all the possibilities. And so when she brings up these points, trying to reduce costs, Ripple, check. Are we trying to cut out the middleman? Ripple, check. Are we trying to have inclusive finance at no cost? Ripple, check. Ripple checks off all those things. And so I think this is strategic for her because she already knows the answer to the question she is asking. So I think I will start by doing just that, she goes on to say. Then we will identify the technicalities of it all, which is not a given, particularly when you talk about the Euro system. And I think that there is also great interest outside of our regional area. I know, for example, that Canada and the UK, certainly other countries way beyond, are also looking very deeply into that to see if it makes sense, what purpose it serves, and how we can best deliver on it. Guys, she goes on to say, my personal conviction is that given the developments we're seeing, not so much in the Bitcoin segment, so she draws the line at Bitcoin, obviously, doesn't want to introduce Bitcoin into this statement, We know Bitcoin has had a muddy history, to say the least, and she doesn't want to associate Bitcoin with what she's talking about. What she's talking about is the future of banking. Digital assets like XRP and other stablecoin projects being introduced by central banks. This is what she's talking about. So she draws the line at Bitcoin, but in the stablecoin projects, we only know of one at the moment, but there are others being explored and underway at the moment. We better be ahead of the curve if that happens, because there is clearly a demand out there that we have to respond to. Christine Lagarde saying it best, and I think a lot of these questions, these hypotheticals, she already knows the answer to. She already has the ace in her back pocket, namely the relationship she's already forged with Ripple, and who knows, I have a feeling that a lot of this is already sorted out. We are just not hearing about it yet until all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted. Now guys, I also saw this from Matthew Lany on Twitter. Wholesale digital tokens. And guys, this from the Bank for International Settlements, Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructures. So he linked this here. It's just a screen grab. I will link the actual page in the description, along with the PDF that goes along with this, guys. So all this will be in the description if you want to read it further. This is actually a very in-depth document with regards to just this. So again, this from the Bank for International Settlements, the Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructures, wholesale digital tokens. But I'm just going to read you a brief part here, okay? Traditionally, wholesale tokens are settled by updating balances in the account records on a centralized register, such as the ledger of a settlement institution. However, new technologies such as DLT make it possible to create digital tokens that could potentially be used to effect settlement. This report focuses on the role of digital tokens as a mean of settling wholesale transactions. Several potential applications for wholesale tokens are being explored by the private sector. While wholesale tokens could be developed simply for use as alternative payment arrangements, much current work relates to supporting potential new digital token arrangements or platforms in which wholesale tokens would be used for the payment leg of transactions involving other digital assets, including tokenized securities and even different tokenized currencies. So guys, they're talking about settlement tokens here. They're talking essentially about XRP without talking about XRP, without saying the word, without calling it out by its name. At the current stage of development, it is still unclear what design choices private sector developers will make or what use cases may be adopted. Now, this is great because we know the use case that Ripple is going after first, cross-border payments. But this opens it up, guys, to so much more. The use cases that will be adopted are vast in the financial sector, and we've talked about this in other videos. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This report discusses some potential design choices that include a non-exhaustive list of questions that token developers may need to consider. Important considerations including, let me read these to you, okay? This is in their statement, including availability, issuance and redemption, access, underlying assets and funds and claims, transfer mechanism, privacy and regulatory compliance, and interoperability. Depending on the design choices made, there could be a number of implications for safety and efficiency of the token arrangement. They're essentially stating that what they need is exactly what Ripple Tech and the XRP digital token delivers. To me, this seems kind of like a chicken and egg thing. Or no, rather, chicken and egg is not what I mean at all. It's what I mean is whatever the reverse of that is. So not questioning what came first, but what they need and have in place already exists, and then they are drafting up documents to kind of question what they need, even though they already know it exists and they'll use it. Brilliant on their behalf to make them look smart. Once they find that technology in quotes, aha, look at what we found, guys. Ripple technology, we'll use this. Meanwhile, they've been planning on using it this whole time. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of a conspiracy on my part, but nevertheless, very great information here. So again, this just coming up from the Bank for International Settlements, December 12th, 2019, a brand new report. And guys, on Twitter, I saw this. Now, there's been a debate in the space. Will we see XRP shoot up like a rocket, or will the value increase over time nice and slow? So guys, this from CDC @_CD Sharif on Twitter. And I gotta thank him for this thread. It's quite thought-provoking. So I just wanted to read it to you guys. And he deals with this exact question. So number one of the main questions I keep asking myself, will it be a blink of the eye moment, or like Usher says, nice and slow? Facts point to both. In my opinion, nice and slow? Well, we've got regulations and decisions that are made in an awful slow process, which is normal for such a big project. Liquidity needs to increase and this takes time. A whole new asset class is being created. New market makers and custodians should come to the crypto stage. Everything is new, but then again, it is not. MoneyGram is the first significant user of ODL. They've used XRP in one corridor, but only for 10% of that volume was ODL. Building liquidity is a slow process, and guys, we've got to remember this. No company is just going to jump right in. They're not going to be the first. I don't know if you guys remember that blockchain podcast that I was talking about months ago. It's funny how I remember these bits and pieces of information every now and then. But it was a guy in the financial space, and ultimately what he was saying was, nobody wants to be first, but everybody wants to be second. Everybody's interested in the technology, but nobody's willing to be the guinea pig. Okay, so MoneyGram, obviously with a bit of support from Ripple, are now introducing this slowly. So they're not using ODL for all of their volume, but 10%, as far as CD Sharif is concerned, is going through ODL right now. So every techie says this is the way it will go up, and it will take years before we can have those big gains. This could very well be true, and I'd be okay with that. I'm living my life and enjoying every aspect of it, including this journey we are in. So, what about Wenmoon, folks? Well, the facts are that RippleNet has a solid base, 300 plus banks and financial institutions. And with multi-hop, the network effect is even bigger. Some single-partment payment providers have thousands of companies under their umbrella. Regulation isn't an issue in many countries to use ODL. So if in capitals Ripple wanted truly to build up liquidity, they could do so much faster than they are doing right now. Meaning, why just go with one corridor at 10%? If they really wanted to grow fast, they could start with 5, 10, or more corridors at 10% and increase that when time passes. Ripple's software has been tested for years and it works. Banks are asking for ODL. Banks could use it without an uncertainty or issues. Because of this slow approach, while so many more options are available to grow the system, makes me also believe in a sudden big increase development in price. Maybe they want XRP to be the hero, a savior. That would mean we need something which needs to be saved first. Exactly. You have to build credibility around XRP before people start seeing it as that valuable asset. It happened organically with Bitcoin. Now that Bitcoin has hit 20,000, people finally see the value. I think the mainstream is starting to see how Bitcoin could be considered digital gold. But guys, that took time. And I think the same is going to happen with XRP. Once they build the value in that digital asset, people will eventually realize, boy, this holds value. I should have bought some at 22 cents. Now it's at $5. I'm going to try to buy as much as I can. And all of you and I will be laughing. So CD Sharif goes on by saying central banks are the key to all of this. They control the world and are independent of every government. They decide when the next crisis will occur. They decide when the economy needs to be saved. Now, it's a bit of a conspiracy theory, but I don't totally disagree. Christine said it today. We need to consider the effects these developments have on banks. Does the CB take center stage, central banks meaning? Should we cut out the middle banks, meaning other middlemen banks in the process? This tells me negotiations are still ongoing and there's a lot at stake. Plus all other geopolitical negotiations. One thing is for sure either way, when they are ready, it will go fast. Just the when is for me uncertain, meaning it will go fast. It will be at the blink of an eye once the negotiations are set in stone. But when, guys, this is the big question. Time will tell. I'm ready for both ways. Hashtag HODL, hashtag zero doubt, hashtag don't you wish you bought at 22 cents? Not financial advice, guys, but think about it logically. So what do you think? Do you think XRP will go up nice and slowly like Usher says? Or do you think there will be that one catalyst, that one negotiation that sends XRP straight to the moon? I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.